Hello, this is Benson Kamari and I'm presenting a case study on internet use violations, threats over World Wide Web. First, problem identification and analysis. What do I know about Roosevelt High School? Roosevelt High is in an affluent area. Parents are professional. Students have access to the latest technology. What do I know about Dr. Forbes? He has been the principal of Roosevelt for 9 years. He was recognized by the State Secondary Principals Association. He's established principal, respected by all parents, focused on maintaining the school's reputation, and recommends only highly qualified teachers. What do I know about Miss Walker? She has 2 years of teaching experience. She teaches science courses, has an undergraduate master's, and has completed a year of postgraduate. She never married. Her parents live 3 hours away, maintains a structured classroom focused on academics. Parents and students complain about Miss Walker's workload and poor instruction. What do I know about the conflict? Miss Walker's approach leads to student stress, and numerous calls have been made from parents complaining about Miss Walker's high expectations. Parents are concerned that their students will have bad grades and miss out on school honors. Students complain about Miss Walker. Dr. Forbes discussed with Miss Walker techniques to reduce student stress, but Miss Walker did not implement Dr. Forbes' advice. What do I know about the situation? In November of Miss Walker's second year at Roosevelt, she received an identified email. She reads the email, which contained a link to a website with highly suggestive comments and on her personal behaviors and critical comments about her class using vulgar cursing words. The final comment on the web was, "Who wants Miss Walker to disappear?" What do I know about Miss Walker's reaction? She calls the principal, she's in tears, expresses fears over her life, asks Dr. Forbes for advice, forwards the email to Dr. Forbes, says that Randy Franks, one of her students, might be behind the email. She spends the night at her mom's. Reactions of Forbes. Dr. Forbes asked Miss Walker to calm down as he listened, asked for the email to be forwarded to him, reads the email, believes that the email was a prank, asked if there was a conflict with students in Walker's class, prints the email and web page, says that the district technologies may be asked to determine the origin of the email, proposes that Miss Walker and him meet Randy and his student and his friends, the next morning. What do I need to know? I need documentation on conflicts between individuals, between Miss Walker and Randy Franks, between Miss Walker and other students, between Miss Walker and parents who have been complaining, between Randy Franks and other teachers, if any, and between Miss Walker and Dr. Forbes, if any, because of Dr. Forbes' early reaction that the email was prank. What do I need to know? I need to know about Miss Walker. That what has she done to improve her teaching? What institutional support has been granted to support Miss Walker? Does Miss Walker see any problem with her approach in the first place? What collaborative effort has school put in place to improve teaching? What is Miss Walker's attitude towards students, parents, and parents who complain against her? What do I need to know about the nature of possible action? I need to know whether the website web page content constitute a real threat. Can the school legally track the email? What does the law say about that? Can the principal and Miss Walker talk to Randy and friends without involving their parents? Will the issue be handled without disrupting educational process? Did the sender of the email act alone or with others? So what's the problem? Here, the problem is Ms. Walker failed to improve her teaching approach, which caused student stress and leading to more complaints from parents and students. There has not been adequate peer or institutional support towards Ms. Walker. improvement. Ms. Walker has been threatened and hurt by defamatory and vulgar comments online. The origin of the email and the web page is unknown. Plan for action with strategies for implementation. Step 1. Collect all the necessary documentation. I'll make copies of email and website, get phone call records related to the issue, documentation of parents and student complaint, documentation on snide comments by Randy Franz in the classroom as said by Ms. Walker, interview records from involved parties. Step 2, seek legal advice from the district legal expert to determine whether the legality of the situation, whether the web page is a threat, web page content is a threat, to determine legal implication of filtering or pulling down the web page, to determine the legality of interviewing students without the parents' knowledge, to advise on who can be involved in the case as third party. Step 3, involve technology department expert who can determine the origin of the web page or whether the source of the content of the web page can be tracked, or to determine whether the sender of email can be traced, or whether the website can be blocked or filtered immediately. Step 4, conduct interviews. Interviews with Dr. Forbes, Walker, Randy, Franz, suspected student, if any, and others who might include parents of the student, tech support for their opinion, and lawyers' opinion on the matter. Step 5, focusing on teacher improvement program to reduce student stress at the moment, to increase class management skills and strategies for Ms. Walker, to foster teacher-student-parent relationship, and all this will be done through workshop on stress reduction, teaching approaches, and schools vision and stakeholders relationship. Step 6, forming collaborative team to help resolve the issue. The team will include vice principal, district legal advisor, head of tech support, parents representative. Dr. Forbes will be left out of this committee owing to his initial response to Ms. Walker that the email might be or was a prank. Resolving the issue, promoting the success of all students. To promote good behavior and responsibility among students, I have two scenarios. One, if the student responsible is identified, the student will write apology letter to Ms. Walker, and the student may be sent home for a period of time as determined by the committee handle the problem. In the event that the student responsible is not identified, the stakeholders will be briefed, a policy on online comment will be developed and shared with students and stakeholders. Students will be trained on responsible online communication through digital ethics program. To support individuals under stress or emotion. Regardless on whether those responsible are identified or not, the web page will be pulled down to avoid more comments being posted. Students will be involved in responsible technology used through digital ethics program. Ms. Walker will start professional training on stress reduction. Counseling session for stressed students will be conducted, and an adult will ensure Ms. Walker's safety until the problem is solved. Resolving the issue, focusing on stopping cyberbullying via ethics program. Tech department, legal advisor, the principal, teachers will form a committee to develop anti-cyberbullying program. The task force will establish the online comment policy with consideration of legal factors that protect the rights of all users. The task force will establish digital ethics program, which will talk with students on the seriousness of cyberbullying and teachers on detecting, preventing, and dealing with cyberbullying. They'll also create a handbook for students and teachers on online communication and good ethics. Resolving the issue, focusing on collaborative effort for improvement. An improvement mechanism for Ms. Walker will be ongoing with a mentor. Establish a peer collaborative team of 3 people to continue working with Ms. Walker on class management, school culture, and student stress. A committee will be established to handle complaints and disciplinary cases in the future. Category 4, debriefing the problem, thoughts, feelings, and values. This will focus on teacher and teaching approach, student behavior, rights and success, collaborative efforts for appropriate education environment. I was thinking about the safety of teachers and students. Ms. Walker is threatened, students feel stress. I was also thinking students' behavior and cyberbullying. Using vulgar language is unacceptable. Cyberbullying is a serious crime that must be stopped. Resolving the issue, I was thinking about resolving the issue amicably because I needed support of teacher improvement and reduction of student stress, and I needed collaboration with stakeholders to prevent similar problems in the future. I was feeling that Ms. Walker needs emotional support. She is single, her parents live far away, complaints against her, and parents continue to come in. Also, feeling troubled that students will use defamatory language to describe a teacher. I was concerned that the case at hand may impact the school's reputation and needed to be handled carefully. I was valuing respect for individuals and the case and their roles. Ms. Walker is a highly trained teacher. Parents are involved in children's education. Students are motivated to achieve high academic honors. I also valuing fairness and rights of all, the rights of students, the rights of Ms. Walker, the integrity of supporting individuals in the case. I was also valuing the reputation of the school and what the case the impact of the case on all students, success of all students, relationships among the stakeholders, and reaction of other community members. Unresolved issues include, why did was Ms. Walker unable to implement the technique to reduce student stress? Why wasn't there a follow-up after Ms. Walker failed to implement the techniques given? What is Ms. Walker's attitude toward improving her teaching approach? What made Dr. Frank believe that the email was a prank and dismissed it? Should the problem go beyond the school's structures, like district levels, or include law enforcers? Reflecting on Standard 5, promoting the success of all students by acting with integrity, fairness, and in ethical manner. I demonstrated a sense of integrity and ethical behavior by listening to all parties involved through interviews, by acting within the law. Advice from legal expert was important, considering Ms. Walker's feelings and emotion, and offering support through mentors and people to advise her in her improvement. I acted with fairness by giving all parties fair chance to make statements without making judgments. I collected documentation for evidence from parents and students who complain. I also acted fairly by protecting the rights of all students by acting within the law. I also acted fairly by seeking support collaboratively, including legal experts, the counselors, teachers, parents, and tech support staff. I demonstrated personal and professional code of ethics by conducting a thorough investigation, collecting documentation, interviewing concerned parties, and involving legal team and tech support. I supported students, staff, and students. I sought support for students and staff by offering counseling to stressed students, by offering support to Ms. Walker through a mentor. I demonstrated personal and professional code of ethics by establishing structures to prevent similar problems through teacher improvement program for Ms. Walker, digital ethics program on prevention of cyberbullying, and establishment of committee to deal with the complaints. The entire case was I made sure that the entire case was revolving around this Standard 5, that the building level administrator is an educational leader who promotes the success of all students by acting with integrity, fairness, and in an ethical manner. Thank you.